I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
The session is brought to you by More Beer, home of the all-new innovative Flash Brewing Kits. Go to morebeer.com today and check it out. Brew beer in 10 minutes or less. Hello, everybody. I'm Justin Crosley, and I am live in Tempe, Arizona at the Ash Homebrew Club Clubhouse. The Arizona Society of Homebrewers is where I'm at. Is that right, Keith?
That's correct.
I've got a great crew with me tonight. We're going to meet more of them. I was graciously invited to the Homebrew Club. I was also invited to your 30-year anniversary, which we're going to talk about. I think that's an incredible milestone. But with me today, our old friend, longtime listener and friend of the show, and I've got to speak with you and hang out with you so many times over the years. Keith Mychek is here. Thank you for the invite, Keith.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. We've got Barry Tingliff.
Yes.
Did I get it right, Barry?
Yep, perfect.
Do you have a title here at the club, Barry?
You didn't get mine right.
Besides just Barry? I didn't?
No.
What? We've always called you Keith Mychek.
I know. Everybody says that.
Why
so
didn't
correct
you? Have you ever? Yeah, in 20 years, you've never corrected me.
No, I never corrected you.
What is it?
It's my sec.
Oh, yeah, no, we've never been corrected. You can forget it now. It's been too long.
Yeah, just call me my check.
Okay.
Everybody else does.
If you ever did correct me, it was in the middle of the night, so it doesn't work. Yeah. Barry's here, also a member of the club. Former I don't know, you had a title here or something.
Well, kind of OG. I've been here for the entire
30 years?
30 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Like since opening day?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Then we've got a lot to talk about there.
Okay.
And then we've got Rob Fulmer here. And I've known Rob for years as well. It's good to see you, Rob.
Good to see you.
Rob, you used to be the president of this club.
I was the president for a while, yeah.
You didn't get fired. You gave up your position or something.
Yeah, I went on to be the director for the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild for about 11 years. And right now I'm doing government affairs.
Got it.
So you just used us as a launching pad, basically, for his
It was a
career.
10-year con, man. And I don't got another 10-year con in me. So
No, Rob, at our age,
that's why I'm back here.
Our cons are done, dude. You and me both. Well, again, I'm really happy to be here with you guys, and thanks for inviting me. So we're sitting in the only part of the clubhouse of Ash. Ash has, just to set the stage for you at home, the clubhouse to end all clubhouses, as far as I'm concerned. There's a bar lounge area on one side, which is completely closed off from the meeting room that we're in now. It's my understanding that this was sort of your original meeting room. It used to just be locked over here, and then now
it's
they
Arizona. This is the only air-conditioned part of the place.
Got
up
it.
until very recently.
Okay. So you guys actually held meetings in the summer in this state?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's very bold of you.
Yeah.
But now you've got air conditioning in this new lounge of yours. And the reason I say it this way is I'm not only painting a picture, but it's a very impressive setup that you guys have.
Well, we set the bar high.
You've done well as a club, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, because I think you guys have kind of a different format. It's my understanding that some of that is from Rob's ideas and Keith's leadership, and just what you got. The way you guys see yourselves as a club is different in your eyes than other clubs. Right, Keith? Like you're kind of saying it's not just beer. We're not just here to hang out and drink. We want to really do something more.
Right. So and we've struggled with that over the years. I think Rob was instrumental in creating our first, our existing mission statement right now, which is to preserve and promote the time-honored tradition of homebrewing.
Nice.
And to recognize it as a true art form through information, education, and dedicated practice.
I can't take credit for that. By the way, no, I
Do you have it memorized like that though?
No,
Yeah.
but I probably dug it up out of some file. No,
Okay.
That looks pretty good. We should put that front and center. Man.
Right.
Like, I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty good.
Since the landscape has kind of changed, as you know, craft beer and
Yeah.
homebrewing. We're looking at other ways of trying to bring people in. So we're pretty much celebrating all like fermentation science. So we want to get people that make hot sauce. We want to get people that do cheese,
kombucha,
wine, mead, cider, all of it.
Fermentation. Okay. Got it. So it's a good mission statement. And you're doing that also because beer has narrowed, or is there also kind of a age gap that you're seeing that you're trying to?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah,
Okay.
both of those.
I think the industry or the homebrewing kind of community has kind of contracted, as you know, since its height of 2015-ish or so.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then once COVID happened, it's hard to get people back, get them out of their houses, come to a place, be social,
Right.
and commit to something.
It's so different.
Yeah.
So as you know, we and my listeners hear me say this all the time. We've been doing it for 20 years. I feel like I've known you for almost that time, Rob.
Pretty much. we had a very monumental first meeting.
We did, yeah, agreed. I'm glad, and I'm so happy.
I remember that. Wasn't there a fight or something? Or like
it was more of a. It was a colorful meeting.
It was a mild pestering,
Yeah.
and it turned into a jab here and there,
And I think,
Many
in my
drinks.
opinion, now, at least on my side, a very mutual respect.
Oh,
and I think it has been for years.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
it was for some reason because of that. I found myself because I was traveling and I was running into your events and stuff. So I became like the spokesman for the aggrieved.
I love it.
I don't know what you probably have to set that up now. I'm sorry if we went down it.
No, you're totally fine. I was just going to say I'm kind of making fun of myself, but at the same time agreeing with what you're saying about this new age thing and how people are different. So in 2005, when I started, I wasn't the youngest person in home brewing, but I can't really do math, but I was maybe 30 something. And I feel like the Brewing Network did a really good job of bringing a bunch of young people in their like late 20s and 30s into home brewing. But the time was different then. That age group was looking for something like home brewing. They were looking to get away from like corporate stuff and make it themselves. And I'm kind of proud that the BN was this voice of that, right? So like we were part of this wave. Well, that wave has passed, and this old guy here is like, watch that wave go. And now I still agree that we need the new wave of people, and it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Because people are different than when I was coaxing people into the
I know
hobby.
that Keith learned online, and I learned online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
the
I
BN I think I joined Ash and the BN like at the same time, basically back around 2006,
I
7.
think you came a little later though, because like I remember trying to convince you, hey, you should come to Ash once in a while.
Yeah, you're right. I probably came to the BN first.
I wanted to have a physical presence because I learned so much, probably at my employer's.
Expense. Yeah.
Let's read the forum a little bit, listening to pods and whatnot. But
Yeah.
that's where I met some of these guys. And when you talk about the variety, there was already an excellent mead making community, and there was another club, Homebrewers Anonymous, that had that as their strength. They had some great mead makers. So like just as a city. We had that variety already.
Sure. Yeah.
But they were pretty much on the other side of town, and as Phoenix grew, we pretty much became the east side, and they became the west side. And
I see.
we collaborated on a mead cup for a year.
Okay.
But shortly thereafter, they
were the older club.
they were much older. They were
Well,
probably 5-10 years older than
They had
we
a
were.
different model too.
Okay.
They weren't really kind of like I lived equidistant from both, and I was like, which one should I join? And to me, Ash had more focus on judging competitions, education.
Yeah.
Than the BA did. They were mostly, I think, just kind of hanging around people's. They had dinner parties at people's houses
Right.
that I attended a couple, but I think Ash stole my heart first.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is that I think that there were a lot of lines drawn in the sand back then, including that with the Brewing Network coming out, there was a whole bunch of clubs and a population of brewers, and they exist today, that are like, whoa, that's way too much. You guys you're too this or you're too that.
Well, you're
home
winning
brewing
all the awards at.
But
NHC.
there's that too. But I guess what I'm trying to say is not to just promote the BN, is that homebrewing needed it, and now it needs it again. Except no one really knows what it is, right? And I think you guys are doing a nice job of spending time thinking about that. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm seeing that you have technology all throughout your clubhouse. Keith, you were telling me that if you do a meeting in here, it streams over to the lounge. Mm-hmm. And the reason you told me is like my favorite, because when you go to that home brew club and meeting, and there's the guys that are just talking in the corner, like around the kegerator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which can be which can be annoying when there's a presentation going on. Okay, but you don't want to say no, don't come to those people either.
You just want to say shut up.
Which you used to do, of course. But now instead of saying shut up, you just go, hey man, the lounge is right over there, and it's streaming into the lounge. And I think that's a cool thing. Yep. That's adapting to something with technology.
Right. And that actually was precipitated from COVID, because we had to have a hybrid approach, because a lot of people didn't want to come back right away. So we had a lot of virtual members that joined.
Yeah, okay.
And we gave them access to the stream so that they can, and it gets piped into the meeting room. So if you join, and actually you were on
I remember, yeah.
Our meeting.
I was on one of your meetings, yeah.
Yeah, and so you heard us, we heard you.
Yeah.
We could ask you questions, and we recorded the whole thing and made the content available to our members.
But most clubs, the only time I've seen an event happening in one room and streaming to the other room, is that like the Great American Beer Festival or the Craft Brewers Conference? Like, it's a big idea. I know to you it doesn't seem like that, Keith. You're it's a big idea. I think it's cool.
Thank you.
And I think that's like the direction home brewers and homebrew clubs and the Homebrewers Association and et cetera need to take to, like, let's see what we can do to bring in others, right?
Yeah, I think we found out very recently that people are we've known for a while that people are in it for different reasons. Some people like the social aspect of it. Some people want to learn how to brew. So we just want to try to tailor that experience and try to, be all encompassing and get all in there.
So that's a great way to do it. So for me, I've been to a ton of homebrew meetings, and it depends on the mood I'm in or the presentation, right? Like, sometimes I want to be there and I'm fully focused. Sometimes I want to be the guy hanging around the kegerator. So this all-encompassing thing's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a clubhouse, and you're kind of touching on it a little bit, because you all have a very fond memory of the time when I was president and shortly before. And before that, they were a much different club. I think they were a more serious club. And then when I became a member, we were kind of a party club, and I kind of threw it down. I said, "Are we going to be a party club, or are we going to be a competition club? Are we going to?" And I think we leaned into our events, and that's when I started to get more women involved, because they were always supporting the events. They were always. I said, you can make decisions in this club too. You can be involved, and you can take it any direction you want. So we did. When I left as president, I was the last male board member.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. We had a board of at least 4 or 5 women.
Fantastic.
For a couple of years.
Yeah, and we're coming into a challenge now with all kinds of different things that are that we didn't think of before. And
so what's your membership now? Curiosity.
I think we have about 195.
And what would you say your membership was in 2018, if you had to guess?
2018, probably around the same.
Okay.
It was around.
When Rob was president, though, we went up to almost 500.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Right in the crunch when the market broke and everybody's losing their homes, we skyrocketed.
Yikes. Okay.
It was hard because we really weren't set up to, deal
Were
with
you
that
in this room that time
no,
too?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
This room
this
is
the second clubhouse, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, we had
wow.
it.
Okay.
You had one in Scottsdale too.
And that's Barry's. this, like the idea was let's look for a place, and Barry found it, and so
he found the first.
He's
clubhouse.
our real.
Yeah.
He should be
Rose
our real
Market.
estate. He's our chief. Yeah.
You found the first one and this one, Barry?
No,
I was
Okay.
involved in
Yeah.
finding this one, but
Yeah, okay.
pretty much that one was from a distiller here. He worked for the guy that owned the liquor store, that owned the center,
I see.
and he said, "I'll rent it to you for $1 a month."
You're kidding.
We're in.
Done.
We did
Wow.
it.
But it was a 30-day, month-to-month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we stayed
$1.
5 years, so we got our money's worth out of it.
Yeah,
But
you really
He was
did.
a great landlord. He didn't,
Wow.
had a walk-in cooler. We were.
And he just had a
Like that.
space. He just really liked homebrewing, or he had a space that he couldn't sell. I'm trying to
he
figure this
also-
out.
Both of those.
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
Okay. All
both
right.
of those, because the market was sucking. The
Yeah.
commercial real estate here was terrible.
Okay.
So he figured, let these guys do it.
Yeah.
And it benefited both of us, actually, because he owned a liquor store at the end of the
Oh my gosh.
you know,
Perfect.
and
That's
a
where
high-end
the after
restaurant.
parties
So he got more than his $1 a month
yeah.
then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when you had 500 members, how many showed up to a meeting?
Oh,
Still.
50, 60, maybe.
That's a lot. That's a big
but
meeting.
That's
to
all
me.
the building wasn't big enough to
Yeah.
hold more
Yeah.
than that.
But
so-
our events were
yeah.
our Springfest
And
our
Oktoberfest were what everybody joined for.
Okay.
Yeah.
We used to do a huge Oktoberfest originally.
Okay.
And what would happen was we'd go from 75, 80 members to 250
Got it.
because they want to go to Oktoberfest.
Right.
So, and membership dues were $25. You pay that to go to
Yeah.
out for the night.
That's any good club.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were pretty strict about it.
Yeah.
We cut off. You said people were trying to buy it the day before. I'm like, nah, we're not. We're not like a Mormon club, man.
You have to have participated a little.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, we were trying to stay clear of the liquor department.
Liquor laws. Yeah.
Okay.
We
So-
could not sell liquor, and if we charged the day of, it's considered selling liquor.
And at a
Without
at a
license.
500 or 600 event, you're starting to get on their radar a lot.
That makes sense. Yeah.
know.
Now they think you're skirting the system.
Right.
Yeah.
So at these events, you were just serving homebrew, but you had to buy a ticket.
Well, no, we would have local craft brewers would
Okay.
come and bring a keg or a 6-barrel or something, and we'd.
There was a
So-
lot of brewery participation. They were very happy to bring a keg and.
So
hang out
what?
and-
Here's where I'm confused, and I want other clubs to learn, and maybe this is old news. But what you have a 501c3? What nonprofit are you that people can donate beer to you like that?
We do have a 501c3.
You're a 501c3. Okay,
Yeah.
that's my question.
That's how, yes.
Perfect. Okay.
But they were also friends of ours because some of them actually, started here and
Okay,
moved
yeah.
on. 30 years, you see a few of those people, and
We really leaned into the you're our member, and we had
Yep.
we had plausible deniability. It's like, hey, we cut these off 2 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
And they're also welcome to come to another event and all these other meetings. And some of them did, and a lot of them, became, good homebrewers.
Sure. Okay.
But not everyone, of course. We also rolled out a discount program, working with breweries, and everybody wanted the card then. Everybody wanted that.
Of
Because
course.
And
yeah.
that was a large percentage of those 500s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, give me my discount card.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You're still engaging people, and then you're helping the local breweries, even with the discount card. So,
Yeah.
We're spreading the word. We had advertising and
yeah.
sponsorship. Yeah. I really give Rob a lot of credit for that. I view Rob as like the first modern president of Ash that really realized that like there was more than just collecting dues from members or something like that. Like the reason I think that we were able to afford a place like this or afford to improve a space like this was because Rob started filling the coffers early,
Okay.
and getting sponsorship, and really offering Ash as a benefit to the brewing community too, because we
Yeah, what's your sponsorship proposition? I'm curious about
Well,
that.
I'm not
of the event or of the club?
Well, so there's the discount program. So we had a physical, like hard plastic card. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
durable, and so we got one of the distributors to underwrite the machine
Nice.
and all the cards. And so they got a logo on there, and we picked one or two breweries kind of elevated, and then the ones that were like, well, I wanted to get that, and we just came up with other opportunities, and some of it's just signage, some of it's just recognition.
Nice.
But I mean,
And then ticketed events was
Yeah,
the
right.
next sort of level.
well, and let's be honest, like, 2013 through 2018, you couldn't really do anything wrong if you were engaging these people who were doing well.
Sure.
So
2015 especially.
Yeah.
By 2018, there was already a little turn, right?
Yeah, but not so much here.
Okay.
We're kind of lagging on some of the ups and downs.
Okay. Maybe only by a year, though, at that point. But, okay. Yeah.
COVID equalized everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's when we didn't draw any income at all. Like we basically gave the sponsors and the members a free ride for the whole time because we were like, we'll keep it rolling. You paid last year, you're good this year.
Through COVID, you mean?
Yeah. For the
So
first,
is that so? Yeah. How many years do you? Because definition of COVID varies from place to place. So are we talking 2 years here, 1 year?
Just that 1 year.
Just 2020.
And then we started offering virtual memberships.
Yeah. Okay.
And then as people became more comfortable and came back, then now we have like a full membership and a virtual membership.
Okay. Got it. Well, you guys you've fared well, and so to have the amount of members that you have now, which is basically back to 2019, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
What's your meeting look like now? And I mean both in attendance and content. What do you guys do?
So we do, we'll do topics like technical homebrewing topics. We'll do style explanations of style. We'll do next meeting we're doing a cookie Girl Scout cookie.
Oh, nice,
pairing,
like a pairing, yeah,
kind of thing. So yeah, we're trying to get people's minds going about what you can make.
Okay. And how many people attend nowadays?
We fill this room, so
oh, nice.
We probably
like
get
50
about
people,
50 people in here. Yeah.
That's a lot of people in this room.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. And then, of course, now you stream it to the other room, but you still stream it at home? Can people, if they don't want to be here at all?
Yeah, you can join at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what our virtual members do, so they can ask questions.
Warren just filled our glass with is it a Tilken?
It's Dre Fontaine.
Oh, that's the Dre Fontaine.
Homage.
Which one?
Homage.
Oh, yeah, that's a really nice beer. Is that like is that framboise?
Yeah.
Tastes like framboise. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's Frambozen Lambic because it's Dre Fontaine. It has to be different.
Armand was a very unique man.
We're going to talk to Warren later, too, who's the treasurer of your club now, I think. And now that you guys bring in also...
former treasurer.
Former treasurer. Okay.
But he was instrumental in kind of like guiding us through the clubhouse remodeling and keeping us on a budget. He did a lot of work I tasked him with like where are we spending our money, because I want to know, because we were in the red for years, after COVID. So I was like, I want to know, paper towel, how much money we spent on paper towels, toilet paper, and cleaning supplies, and everything it takes to run this club. We itemized it all out, and and that's the budget that we work to every year. So
sounds like I need Warren and you at my bar because it's not going. It's
not a tight ship.
It's not a tight ship, and in fact, I just yelled about the paper towels the other day. So it sounds like I need to do more yelling or something, or looking is probably the better idea.
Justin, I think if we're talking about how we got here, we're missing a piece here. There was, after I left, I did throw in the question, are we going to be a competition club? Mm-hmm. Because some wanted it. And I said, well, at the time, I'm like, well, we don't have any judges. We literally don't have any judges. We had one or two national judges that were around when Barry was around.
Yep.
And there was nobody filling those shoes. So Crystal Bittner was the president at the time, and Dennis Mitchell went all the way from, steward all the way up to
Grandmaster 3
to the BGCP director.
Wow. Wow.
From this club.
Okay.
And it was, I threw the question down, and it was the next president and the next board and the next board to really bring that home. And that's when we started competing and winning at NHC. So it's the handoff has been great, and I never had the budget cruncher. I never had all that, but
it was a good question to give some direction. And then now I have a personal question, follow-up for you. Did you have a preference, or were you wide open and saying, look, if you guys want to be a party club, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm leaving. Or did you really?
No. It was. I went through the tumultuous period where it was a party club, and then people wanted to be serious, and there was a lot of riffraff in the room, talking over our presentations. And I said, look, we can do whatever we want. but let's figure out what we want to do and
Right.
let's run with it.
love
I was
that.
leaning to more organized presentations and keeping the socialization. I wanted that too, but that's for our events, or that we can take that offline. But if we're doing presentations, we're doing presentations.
Right.
And there were people, again, on the more serious homebrewing side, like, hey, you're bringing a lot of commercial brewery people in here, because that's who I was trying to get to know, and that's who. you
Yeah.
know, before I was with the club, I was at CBC, and
Of course,
I'm
yeah.
I'm gonna lean on these guys too. And I said, if you really want to make it the homebrew club of that you want, then let's do it. But that wasn't why I left. I left because I had an opportunity.
Okay, and that's not what I meant, of course.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a great question. But some people ask the question because they're like, so what I'm saying is we're going to be a comp club, right? But that's not really what you meant. You meant let's figure this out.
Yeah.
And you're saying that Crystal and some others did figure that out.
Yeah.
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 You guys did. You've won some competitions. You've done quite well.
Yeah, we have a couple of Ninkasi winners the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mead maker
And
of the
a homebrew
year.
club of the year. Okay.
Which-
Mead
which-
maker of the year. Nice.
So which we claimed 2 years in a row because that COVID, there was nothing. So we were still the reigning.
The reigning
homebrew-
champ.
Yeah.
Heck
we're-
yeah,
we're
dude.
taking
That
2
belt's,
of 'em.
you absolutely. I'd do the same thing.
There are some people who say that we created that just to keep it another year. But
That you guys created COVID? Yeah. I always say that
Was in
JP
the
created
lab, I
COVID
thought.
so he wouldn't have to leave his house anymore. So I do the same.
we
yeah.
used our online presence at the time to.
Yeah. How dare you? That's people don't like when you do that. That's people get very upset about
We
that.
won't name any names, will we? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we kind of wrap up with the history, I got to go back to you, Barry, because you say you've been here since day one.
I have.
Are you a Arizona native?
No, I moved here in 1975.
Okay.
So I was.
So you were 2.
20 years old.
Stick with my number.
Okay, I was 2.
Okay. And so 30 years. Do the math for me. So what year did you guys start?
95.
Okay. Oh, in 95. Okay. And how many were in the club then?
We started with 12.
And was it just like, friends homebrewing and you said, let's be a club?
The Brewers Connection was a homebrew club that ended up being right down the street from my house.
Okay.
And
Do you mean that was a
was
homebrew
a
shop?
homebrew shop.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Got
A
it.
club,
The Brewers
not-
Connection.
excuse me.
That's
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Brew. Okay.
And went in there one time, and I think the second time I went in, they said, hey, we're starting a club. You want to get in? I said, sure. What's it mean?
Right. Yeah.
I
What do I have to do?
I think it was like $10 or something. I said, okay, where are we meeting? Well, it was the Point South Mountain, which was a luxury resort here in Phoenix, right down the street from here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And we met there for the first, I think, 3 years.
Nice.
We went from 12 to maybe 40 by the
Okay.
time we were done.
Yeah.
But it was tumultuous, and we were talking malt extracts and
Sure.
yellow hops, but
Be honest. Like, how is the beer?
now? Oh, back then?
No, that's a great question. The way you
beer?
the way you put it back to me. The beer then was probably delicious as you tasted it, but if you think about it now,
The beer of choice back then was Newcastle Brown Ale.
okay.
And, I mean, we sort of all emulated to do English ales and things like that.
What about IPAs? Did anybody brew an IPA?
Not like you would think of today.
Okay.
I mean, we would do IPAs, but we didn't have any fresh hops. We didn't have any, good hops.
Right.
It's the desert. So,
Did you didn't have good malt either? I mean, was malt in cans or did you
malt was usually dry or liquid malt extract.
did anybody all grain like anywhere near the start?
I would say probably after the first 5 years, maybe.
Okay, all right.
And then you started seeing grains coming in, and so we were steeping grains, and then went from steeping to all grain, and
Right.
worked our way sort of up the food chain. But
Yeah. Okay.
it was
Yeah.
we never poured them out.
And that's sort of what I was getting at. Like
so
they
we
were
learned
they
from
were good
our
enough.
mistakes. Yeah, they were good enough at the time because what do we know?
What about yeast? Was it just off the shelf? Just whatever
Well,
yeast?
I do remember a yeast. They said, that yeast on the top of your can, throw that away. Here, take this,
Right. Yeah.
Red Star or whatever they had.
Actually, yeast is still a challenge here in
Yeah.
the summertime.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Even if White Labs is not that far away.
Yeah, yeah.
More beer will ship pretty quickly.
And ship it cold.
Yeah.
right, with
but
an
it
ice
still
pack.
gets here and it's 110 out.
100. Yeah. Right.
And it sits on your front yard, by your front door for 2 hours
So
until
you
you get home.
Fair. Okay. Fair point. Yeah. Well, so you've stuck with it all this time, though. You never gave up on the hobby. Like you never got bored with homebrewing.
I never did.
Yeah, that's nice.
I don't know why. I just never did.
How much do you brew now?
Not near as much as I used to.
Okay, that's fair.
I worked in the industry for 8 years, so
All right.
I know a guy.
Okay. That's what happens, isn't it? Once you get like good beer almost delivered to you, things change a little bit.
But I'm still mead making. That's my passion.
Oh,
right now.
nice.
Yeah.
See, and that makes now this is a question sort of for all of you. Don't you? I used to say this, by the way. I'm going to pat myself on the back for this one. I used to say the problem with the growth of professional craft beer and it getting better is that homebrewing is going to decline. Like, let's be honest. Most of us started homebrewing because we could brew really cool beer that we couldn't buy.
Yep.
And then when there became 5 breweries around the corner that were brewing really cool beer, man, that 8 hours, 6 hours, sorry, it was 8 for me, 4 to 6 on a weekend, it started to look less attractive, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're kind of saying the same thing. Like, you must love homebrewing.
I do,
but
definitely.
It's not that convenient.
No, because I still homebrew like I did, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So now everything's gone electric, and it's, single pot. And
right.
It's actually gotten a lot easier.
I like doing triple decoction, German lagers and Czech lagers. And
I mean, I think even you can make a pretty darn good carpet porter nowadays.
Yeah. But do you see, like, the rise of professional craft brewers around us directly affected, it's not the only reason, but the decline in home brewing? It's my opinion.
No, I can see that, but I also see that it's going to have to come around again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things that hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you about in a different format.
Mm-hmm.
Our guys, people in hospitality are losing to DoorDash and dispensaries and Netflix.
Yeah.
That's the challenge. And part of that equation is there's going to be a period where people kind of go back to entertaining, and homebrewing will be a piece of that. And hopefully it'll come around. But we need to preserve all of these things if we're going to move forward. And, I to stave off that trend and hopefully put some these people get some money in their pockets, these younger people, and they'll come back to the hobby. I don't know if I'll be involved as intimately in the professional side, but I don't want to just sit at home and watch Netflix all the time. I mean, I want to see bands. I want to see shows. I want that small dive bar to always be there.
But you're making both points, and it's really interesting to me. I hadn't thought about it that way. Like, okay, if you're going to stay home and entertain, why not do something cool like homebrew?
Yeah, I tell some of the people, and I used to say, are you in this for just a couple of years or your whole life? And everyone's like, oh, I'm in it for my whole life,
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, if you're around another 10 years, I'll ask you again. But it's like, right now it's like, well, now I've been asked, I'm like, oh, are you going to be in for another 10 years? You better start thinking of what an 11-year-old child wants to have when they turn, right?
Yes, you're right.
So you got to be, more cognizant of that.
Right.
And I do think, I think what we failed at on the professional side is the hospitality side.
Okay.
Like, a lot of us got into this to make the equipment, to make the beer, to be the host, or all of those things.
Right.
I think sometimes, the professional brewing side, they lost the hospitality.
Yeah. I mean, hospitality, I think, is a fickle animal. It always has been. It is a profession. And we, as brewers, didn't think of it as a profession. We're like, oh, I can host a party. This is fine. But now you see the people who really know what they're doing and those that don't.
And that's even more important now. That's where we're hearing that people want an experience. They want something exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
They want something that
if I'm going to leave the house and pay you inflation money, it better be awesome.
Right.
Right?
So that's what we try to do. We host a couple of, we try to do at least one bus trip a year. Go up to Flagstaff. Sometimes we go down to Tucson.
Yeah, nice.
That's something cool we could do. Now that we have the clubhouse, we're hosting like Super Bowl parties and
Heck yeah.
March Madness and whatever else that we can get people in here and socializing again.
Yeah.
So it's been a great thing to have the space like this.
Well, let's take a break and we can talk more about it. Where can we send people to learn more about Ash right now?
It's azhomebrewers.org.
Okay. And what's your TikTok page, Keith?
Oh, gosh.
I know. I'm fucking with you because we're talking about the young people, and I'm like, if we don't have a TikTok page.
You can only see the look on his face when you said that.
I did that on purpose. But there's a Facebook page.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram.
Right. Dude, the people tell me, why doesn't the Brewing Network have a TikTok page? And I'm like, because I'm over it. I can't, it's 20 years. I'm done.
The bandwidth isn't that wide
It's
anymore,
like,
right?
and I'm like, I get it. I hear you. I should have a TikTok page.
You
I'm
should have somebody
particularly
just follow
messy.
you around as we're like,
And
POV. I'm trying to plug all my equipment in, and it's not working.
You know, back in the day, I should have hired that person. It would have worked. All right. So, like I said, I'm here in Tempe, Arizona, with Ash, and I'm going to hang out in their lounge and homebrew club for the evening. We're going to talk to some more members when we come back right here on the session. Hang in there.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
Welcome back to the program. I am still hanging out at the Arizona Society of Homebrewers Clubhouse in Tempe, Arizona. I'm having a great time, not just because they're nice gentlemen, but they keep feeding me rare beer and good homebrew and local beer. And so that, of course, always helps. They know how to make this a good show. I told Keith beforehand, either do that or I will fuck this show up royally, but I'm not doing that. I do want to thank our sponsor today, More Beer. They bring you this show and every show. You can go to morebeer.com and check them out. They've been doing that for 20 years, and I thank them so much. And I know that homebrewers across the country know how important More Beer is to the industry and also to this show. So thanks to More Beer for bringing this show to you live from Arizona. I'm here at the good time of year. Some of you, or maybe all of you, even stay here for the bad time of year. I've heard you have air conditioning in your clubhouse. I'm curious to find out how brewing goes during the summertime. Maybe I can ask somebody that. But first, I've got a homebrew in my glass from Ross. And Ross was the Ash Homebrewer of the Year back in 2023, which really wasn't that long ago.
Not too long ago.
And so, Ross, tell me about the beer that we're about to drink.
We're about to have a Japanese rice lager.
Nice.
And it's a little bit of Pilsner malt and basmati rice, which we did a cereal mash with.
Nice.
It's got a little Hallertauer Mittelfrüh. And that's about it in this one. So it should be a little cold, crispy, refreshing. A little bit of floral notes maybe to it. And I hope you enjoy it.
That's the best homebrew I've ever drank. I just want to say right now.
Appreciate that.
And what I mean by that is like, there's just not a hint of homebrew to that. That is brewed in a commercial facility by a professional brewer who knows everything about rice lagers, is what that tastes like to me.
Well, we've been feeding you beer all night.
So there's
I think
that.
that sort of helped.
I'm going to give you that, but that's a really clean and nice beer.
Well, I appreciate it. It's one I've been working on. You know, making a lager is supposed to be one of the most difficult things to make. And in the summer, it's almost impossible in the garage, but in the winter we have nice cool evenings, and we can do a little temperature control and keep those fermentation temperatures down on the beer. And this one turned out pretty good. So
this is a recipe you've been tweaking for a while.
A little bit. We've been I've been doing this one for probably about 6 months and working on it, trying to hone in the right amount of rice. This one has more rice than I've been doing previously, so it's got about 40% rice.
Okay.
Which is quite a lot.
Yeah, and what's normal? Like 20?
I've been doing around 20, and this one I amped up a bit just to see what it would do, just to kind of try it out. And as a home brewer, I think it added a lot of crisp flavor to it. You know, my wife and I are the ones that do the rice, so we get all our pots and put them out on the stove and like mash that stuff in, cereal mash, and then bring it out to the garage and dump it in the regular mash. So a little interesting flavor.
Doesn't it gum up the mash at 40%?
It's pretty bad, but you know we use a lot of rice hulls, which is the secret for all of this. And
so rice hulls,
a lot of rice hulls, like pounds and pounds of rice hulls.
What size batch? What size your ton?
So we do a 10-gallon batch.
Okay.
And that gives room to split it into 2 5-gallon fermenters. And this one I split and did 2 different yeasts.
Which are?
So this one is a 815, WLP 815. And the other one that I did is a classic 3470.
Okay.
Which was really clean. So it's a super clean beer. I actually call it something else. I call it an American lager. And I did bring some of that.
I'm going to text Chris White right now that he has to up his sponsorship because I just said the best homebrew I ever had has his yeast in it.
There you go.
So I think you just helped the Brewing Network out yourself.
Yeah, got to throw you something there for sure.
Yeah.
And we'll take some yeast too at Ash. I mean, we're always happy to.
I think he'll send you some yeast. Chris, it's actually Mike White, his brother, who listens to every show. So Mike, will you please relay the message that Ash needs some yeast? And they're doing good things with it. This is good stuff. Have you won awards with this beer yet?
This one I have not entered in a competition, but the previous batch I did, and it has won a few gold medals at some competitions.
Nice. Yeah. I can believe that. What else have you won with?
I make a lot of IPAs, so I brought some of those today.
Okay.
I brought some hazies, but I also have a West Coast right here on the table for us.
Okay.
And
in a can.
In a can.
You just have a home canner?
Have a canning machine, and it when you enter a lot of competitions, which I do. It's a lot cheaper to buy and ship cans.
Okay.
And it's less risk of breakage. So I tend to enter with cans. There's some downside to it because you can't recap cans during the course of the competition judging. So you lose a little bit of the aroma, but I think the benefits for me entering is it's a lot better for cans.
Sure.
Yep.
Did they have to change the rules for that or something? I remember there was a time when they just told you exactly what you have to send.
Over the last couple of years, we've seen cans be adopted, like the 12-ounce, the 16-ounce plain silver cans. They are accepted at almost every competition. There are a few holdouts. These are some of the larger competitions. Sometimes they don't allow cans. One of them's the Blue Bonnet Brew Off.
Okay.
They want 12-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
They don't do cans yet. But almost every competition that I enter will accept cans now. Previously, in previous years, we've run into issues like I've sent cans and they've been rejected and things like that.
Okay.
But it's pretty open now, which is great.
That is great.
Yeah.
How long have you been brewing?
I started in 2018.
Okay. Wow. You're a young brewer.
I'm pretty new to all of this.
Yeah.
Started out, did a few batches late in that year. Did a few in 2019, and then kind of the classic COVID thing.
Yeah.
Had a lot of time at home and started brewing a lot. Bought some more fermenters, and now I brew at least once a week if I can. I try to get one batch a week.
It shows. I've always joked that I can probably tell you the most about brewing beer without actually being able to do it myself. And it's not too much of a joke because the real reason is you have to practice it. If like anything, like a baseball coach knows everything about baseball, but he can't go play like the players he teaches, right? Like you have to do it. So by doing it weekly, you know what's up.
It takes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And
then how to fix
mistakes, and it takes a lot of luck.
Yeah.
And good fortune, and I think repeating things over and over tends to have good results.
Why did you join a homebrew club? Why did you join Ash?
I didn't know about Ash when I started brewing. I really didn't think about having an organization to support that type of activity. And one day I found out about Ash through social media or some other channel, and decided to come and join the club and see what was about. And
see, Keith, you're doing something right on the social media side. He might have found out about you that way.
Yes.
It wasn't like you didn't read an ad in the newspaper.
No, I mean, Keith would probably like to do that too, but no, we found out through the technologies, the interwebs, and I showed up, and we have monthly meetings, and I learn a lot from these meetings. We have great presenters. Topics that are really helpful to homebrewers of all skill levels, and it's a great community to enjoy a beer.
Okay. Well, I ask because I think clubs are a unique thing in every hobby, but in homebrewing especially, and not everybody wants to be at a club, and not everybody thinks they need it. But the best beer I ever have, you're in a club. And that's been my whole career. Like, if you're not in a club, your beer's just okay. Like, it's just,
It's a supportive community of people that are like-minded and want to brew great beer and give you feedback. We have great judges. I've learned a lot about how to brew from a lot of people in the club, and I think it's a fantastic organization.
Yeah. Well, I do so far as well, especially with the beer that's coming out of it. John Rudolph is another one of our club members.
Yep.
And Ross, if you want to pour us the next beer while we're talking, that'd be amazing. I'm going to finish my beer, but I wanted to sip it. It's so good. John, how long have you been a club member?
Oh, I think I joined right around 2010. I actually came in for about a year, and when you were talking with Rob before, I ended up on his board.
Oh, yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
I've been around since then. I've been brewing since about, I think I started with like a bunch of his Mr. Beer in it in 2007-ish.
Okay.
Give or take.
So you've been on multiple boards here.
Yes.
How very non-political, non-partisan of you. Good job.
Well, it's to kind of keep in the middle of all of it.
Sure.
It motivates me to keep participating and everything else. I dropped off in the middle a little bit, but came back on Keith's board, had a blast. And
okay.
To me, it's more the social aspect. I competed a fair amount of my beers early.
Okay.
I pretty much don't compete much anymore. But
okay.
I still.
Do you still brew?
Yeah, I still brew. Definitely still brew. Not to the frequency that Ross does.
I mean, that's a lot. Ross is brewing a lot.
A little obsessed.
Out of it. But I tend to do it in spurts.
Okay.
You'll do stuff to get me through the year, keep stuff on tap, and then.
What's your? And I should ask Ross this too. I'll come back to you. But what's your homebrew system?
So I've got it's kind of a home cobbled system. My total output's about a 10-gallon batch. It's a gravity fed system, with SS Brewtech, big old mash tun and a couple of kettles, 20-gallon brew. It's all electric now.
Nice.
I'm an engineer by trade, so half the fun of it is building my own controls and all
So
that
you
stuff
made it
with
electric yourself?
Yeah, I pretty much put everything together. A lot in the same line as what Keith's done on his and everything else.
Okay.
That to me is as much fun of the hobby as the outcome of the beer.
I think
check how to work.
I think that's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. That's kind of me with my off-road hobby now. Like if I'm not buying gadgets and putting gear together, it's just not as fun. I might do more of that than I do actually driving in the dirt.
That'll
so
kill your budget.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Like that's the fun part of the hobby for you.
Well, and you mentioned the idea of brewing in the summer.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, since I went electric, it allows me to shut up the garage and. Now I can shut up the garage. I got a nice split AC unit out there, so right in the middle of July can have a beautiful, beautiful time out there and be able to do it.
But of course, you still need temperature-controlled fermentation, right?
So a couple of chest freezers on casters.
Okay.
That roll around the garage to be able to do that.
Oh, that's nice.
Life's good.
Wait, why can't they just sit in one part of the garage?
I actually built it up to where I've got a work surface, butcher block counter where the two freezers roll underneath it, so I can do all my work and get them out of the way and everything. And
okay.
Again, anal engineer that goes with all that.
I want to see pictures of this garage.
I'll definitely pull them up in a bit.
Here's mine.
What's your Keith is showing me his. Can I take your phone here? I don't see anything creepy on it.
What do you call your system? The Sudsmaster.
So I'm looking at Keith's Brewhouse, which is a flat 3-vessel system. Keith, you correct me when I get it wrong. With a touch screen that I'm certain touchscreen controller that I'm certain Keith built himself. No, you bought that? Yeah. Okay. That surprises me about you, Keith. He did buy that. Oh, but then there's a whole control box above it that looks like you'd find in a professional brewery with the switches and the buttons, and that looks like tells you what what pump is doing what, and yeah, that's nice. Oh, and he has like a really nice reclaimed wood backsplash behind it, so because aesthetics matter too, don't they, Keith? Yeah. You're going to send me photos. We'll try to put them up on the page for this show so people can see. All right, now I'm seeing John's. And, okay, that's a nice brew house. John has a clean garage, a 3-tier system. But, John didn't go crazy. He didn't, weld together a whole thing. You're just using some racks.
A few of the racks and a little bit
Why
of slotted
not?
rail stuff.
That
was what I had handy.
Dude, why not? I mean, that's what my system... Well, until I inherited Jamil's system, which I thoroughly screwed up. I was on racks and stuff, too. And now everything in your garage is on casters. It looks like you also use your garage maybe to park in, which is...
that's kind of the negotiation with the wife.
To
make sure that when I'm done brewing, all of my system collapses into a cabinet in the corner.
So that was the real answer I was going for, John, is that it's a multi-purpose garage.
Well, the key to this, though, is if you look at that's in the 2-car side of it. I got 3-car garage, and the other side of it is a glass studio for my wife. So as long as she keeps doing her glass hobby, she leaves me alone about my brewing because my spending pales in comparison to hers. So
there we
it works
go.
out pretty good.
Does she enjoy your beer at all, or beer?
She does.
Okay.
She's the one that got me into craft beer.
Nice.
She went to school up in Spokane, Washington. Her mentor about killed her for ordering a Coors Light and taught her all about craft beer, and she came down here and broke me of my bad habits. And
your cheap habits, anyway.
Exactly. And she's got a hell of a palate compared to mine. She picks up, and she's got the weirdest explanations of the flavors she figures out, but she picks up stuff that I have no clue is there.
So
it's kind of cool. It's in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. So
with your beer, you're like, no, I really like this one. She's like,
don't chew
I
it up.
I don't know, man. Trevor is another homebrewer here in the club. How long have you been a member?
So I started about 2018.
18. Okay, so also fairly recent, at least in the length of the club.
Right.
And how often do you brew beer?
Not nearly like Ross. I probably once a month.
Okay.
Sometimes more, sometimes less.
What do you like to brew? Do you have a favorite style?
And then good beer.
You don't care?
What
do you like to drink?
I like to drink a lot of lagers these days.
Okay.
West Coast IPAs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot more lagers than I ever used to. I used to do a ton of hazies, and now it's like kind of moving back the other way.
Okay. Like back to West Coast or just back to lagers?
Back to lagers,
Back
probably.
to lagers, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of German beers. Yeah.
Do you lager in the summer?
I do.
Yeah?
But I do it in a fridge, so it's easy.
Okay.
With the heat wrap, and it works year-round. So.
What about the actual brewing? Do you do it at 4 in the morning, or do you have
I have done it at 3 in the morning before.
Yeah.
But swamp coolers, fans, just stay in the shade.
Okay.
Keep it early.
So you guys don't know this, but I'm actually from the desert. So I get to ask these fucked up questions of you guys. And I get to tell you when you're stupid for brewing in the summertime. I am like born in fact, I think only recently my desert blood has started to go away. And it was like 100 degrees where I live in the Bay Area this summer. And I was like, oh my God, it's so hot. It's terrible. 100 degrees used to be my sweet spot. I'd be like, all right. Now we get to do things. So I get to make fun of you a little bit. But I wouldn't stand in front of a burner, even at 100 degrees.
It's electric, so...
Smart. Yeah. It's still a bunch of heat radiating from the thing.
You don't have to stand on top of it the whole time, just
Fair
when
point.
you're putting in the hops or a little
See,
stuff,
I would.
You know?
I'm an idiot. I'd be like, I have to watch it boil. That's a good point.
And we still bitch about the heat, so that's definitely there too. Yeah. So.
But let's clear the air, because I've done a lot of making fun of Arizona and the desert in my career. But in hanging out here this spring, I guess it is now, and talking to others, this heat we all talk about, you guys actually only get it for, 3 months? Maybe 4 if you have a rough summer? And then it's perfect.
We don't
for the rest of the time.
About that. We already
so you
have
prefer
too many
me,
people here.
So I should go back to just saying it's awful all the time.
It's so bad here.
It's
so
8
bad.
months, 9 months out of the year for sure.
Because
Miserable.
our summer in the Bay Area, I felt like was 5 or 6 months this year, and it was awful.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, no, it just goes back to perfect.
Yeah, we don't have to deal with 6-7 months of that white crap.
Yeah.
It's real nice when you're brewing in the winter here, because everything's perfect temperature. The brew days are beautiful, and your lagers just sit there in the garage.
Right.
Perfect temperature, no struggles.
And 65 in December, that's your daytime temperature? Is that right?
65.
Man.
All right.
Maybe.
Don't worry, I'll edit this part out of the show, Trevor. I won't. I'll just voice over. 97 in the summer. I'll make it really bad. So you brew once a month. Do you enter competitions?
I do, thanks to Ross.
Okay. He's got
some other people.
Okay.
Yeah, he's insane about competing, and I'm starting to enjoy it, and I think it's been leveling up my beer, so it's been pretty good.
Like to get the feedback, or because you do it more frequently when you compete?
Well, you're trying to do. I think it's because you're trying harder to get that goal, because it's harder to win medals, and so you just concentrate more. You start looking at all the details, start seeing what everybody else is doing, and trying to figure out what works best. And
right,
yeah,
medals are addicting, man.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I tried early on. I got like 1 medal. And the last couple years, me and Chris Graham from More Beer have been trying to get a medal with Tasty's recipes, our old co-host Tasty, but we keep fucking it up. But we're gonna keep. I'm like hungry for a medal, like one of the, and then I'm gonna retire, and then I'm out. So this, the Brewing Network could go on for 30 or 40 years because I'm basically going until then. All right, and then I didn't get to ask Ross, what do you brew on?
So I have 2 systems. One's a single vessel, 10-gallon system, and I make most of my lagers on it because I can step mash. And then I have a 3-vessel system that I make for bigger beers. I don't use it very much. Okay. I use it recently for an 8% hazy IPA that I did last weekend.
Wow.
But it's a little bit more work, a little more clean, and I like to use the single vessel because it's just super easy. You can program it in and clean up at the end of the day, and you're done.
Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about the IPA in my glass?
This is a pretty basic IPA. It's Pilsner malt, and that's it, except at Sparge, it has a little bit of golden naked oats for some color. And this one, I believe, is dry hopped with Simcoe, Mosaic, and Citra.
Nice. Yeah, because it tastes like a Russian River hopped beer, and those are some Russian River favorites right there. It has a lot of mouthfeel for just Pilsner, you said?
Just Pilsner.
So I wonder if that's a hop thing that's coming out, too.
It does have a secret ingredient in there, and there's a little bit of incognito that I use in the Whirlpool.
Okay.
It gives it a little bit of mouthfeel, and then I think the mashing schedule on it gives it a little bit of mouthfeel.
Oats got to be helping a little bit, too.
Yeah, the oats are kind of like a last-minute addition and don't really have too much impact.
Okay.
I really use it for color just so it doesn't look like a Pilsner. But I think like part of it is like there's a lot of hops in here.
Yeah.
So it's going to give you a little bit of mouthfeel to it.
I think it is, yeah.
Incognito helps a lot.
Incognito is the secret ingredient, or you don't want to say the secret ingredient?
Well, I just said it, so I guess it's not a secret anymore.
Okay.
But it's a great ingredient. And throw it in there at 175 in the Whirlpool. This has Chinook. And I think that gives it a little bit of extra flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use a ton of it, but enough that you can kind of taste the difference.
Chinook keeps coming up on my shows for the last year or more, and every time someone says it, I'm like, "Yep, that's part of why that beer is great."
Yeah, it's a pretty popular hop right now for West Coast IPAs. There's a little edginess to it,
making a comeback.
Yeah, it's a good hop.
That's a very nice beer.
Thank you.
And the yeast in this one?
This is a lager yeast.
Okay.
This is 3470.
Nice. All right. But at ale temp?
A little bit warmer. I don't go quite to ale temp.
Mm-hmm.
Low 50s on this one. Yeah. And then ramped up kind of, third into fermentation, ramp it up to about 60.
Is that a cold IPA? What's the definite? Do you know this cold IPA thing?
I think of a cold IPA as having like an adjunct in it.
I see.
Like rice or corn. It doesn't have that in it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it does have the cold IPA typically would have a yeast that is a lager yeast. I just like it because it's a good clean yeast, and I use it I make a lot of lagers, so I have a lot of the yeast.
Okay.
And I repitch. So instead of buying new, I just tend to use it in different styles, and it's mainly cost savings.
I see. Because at your size, you need to save every...
I know, and any dollar matters. The yeast is pretty expensive.
It is expensive. I'm messing with you, but yeah.
It can add up pretty quick. And when you're brewing once a week, if you can save a little money here and there, it's not a bad idea.
Well, and not just that. Don't you think it adds to your skills? Like if you're managing yeast is probably the one thing you can do to make your beer spectacular. You're managing yeast.
Yeah, I think it helps. If you're getting second generation, third generation yeast in there, you're getting better results.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so you're saving money and making better beer.
Yeah.
And lager yeast, you need a lot of lager yeast when you're pitching these beers. Instead of paying, $30 to pitch a beer, it's free.
Right.
So that's great.
You didn't say when are you opening your brewery?
I'm going to focus on getting better as a home brewer right now and try to work on my craft a bit.
I see a trajectory here. I'm calling it now. I'm calling my shot right now.
I appreciate it.
Hey, Ross, how many generations do you push?
I'll push A long time. The 3470 I'll push, into the double digits.
Really?
And it mainly, when I end up ditching the yeast, it's because I haven't used it for a month or two. And so then I'm kind of like getting concerned about its quality, and then I'll stop using it. So it's not really a matter of the generations, it's a matter of the age between pitches. I have noticed with certain yeasts, they won't go as far, but the 3470 is pretty good. I think it's just a matter of like, if it's sitting in the fridge, it smells, it's not looking good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it in the beer.
It's like food.
And then we get a new one.
With your weekly stuff, are you able to just go cake to cake?
I never go, I rarely go cake to cake. So I always pull. And so like with this beer, I am ditching the yeast on this one because it's a higher gravity beer.
Okay.
But
you just feel like it's been stressed?
I feel like it's been stressed. This is about 7.5%, so I won't repitch that one. But when it's a lager, I'm pulling it. My lagers are 4 to 5% alcohol, and so I'm letting them ferment out. I keg them off, and then I'm pulling yeast on the vessels that I do lagering on because I don't have conicals for those. If I'm doing a conical and it is a lower gravity, I will start pulling it off, and then I'll pull off the good yeast, right? And then I'll put that in the fridge and let it settle out.
I talked to another very good pro brewer. He's got a new brewery, but he's been brewing for years, and it's a tiny brewery. It's like a 5-barrel brew house. So he gets free yeast from his best friend's brewery down the road, who's like a super, I'm not going to name any of the names, but a super award-winning brewery. So he gets free yeast all the time. So cost isn't a thing for him, but he still reuses yeast all the time. And he says the same as you. It's more a time thing. He feels like he's never going to brew the same style enough to get through where generations matter.
Yep.
So he just keeps, if it's fresh, he's just using it. And again, cost isn't even a factor to him. So that's just a decision. He's like, well, why go get more? This yeast is fine. And I know exactly when it's not fine. And he said to me too, it really has nothing to do with generations.
Yeah. So. Sniff test goes a long way.
Yeah. Yep. Smart. All right. Well, we've got more to talk about with the club. In fact, I want to talk about, I don't know, I would call it like your sort of co-op system where you guys, you kind of loan out equipment to new brewers, like another way that you're looking to get people in here. Cost was always a factor. Everything I brewed on, maybe ever, has been a hand-me-down, even after all this time. So I think that's a cool thing. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, hopefully taste some more beer, and let's talk more about what Ash does to help out their members and new members. Hang in there. You're listening to The Session. We'll be right back.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Zysol is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Zysol keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all, take Zysol. At night.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. After watching this season of the HBO's original series, The White Lotus, this is the tropical getaway I needed. One more pina colada, please.
Hey, you're not on mute.
Oh, I thought I was in paradise. Turns out it was my Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate pina colada and Thai-iced coffee flavored creamers. Inspired by the newest season of HBO's original series, The White Lotus. For the love of coffee. Try now.
Welcome back to the show. I'm still hanging out here with Ash in Tempe, Arizona, having a great time. And hey, we always want to thank our sponsors. Don't forget about the 21st Amendment. 21st Amendment has also been with us all this time. Sully is one of my favorite people on the planet. And, I was thinking about it today. We've done a lot in this industry. We've been here for a long time. and we've still only ever had a handful of sponsors that like really have always been there, and 21st Amendment are one of them. They support homebrewers and pro brewers and the Brewing Network, and I remember Sully standing in my kitchen on the first shows and just telling me like, hey, this Brewing Network's going somewhere, and he's just been a supporter ever since. So I want to thank him, and I want to thank the 21st Amendment. You can find their beer almost anywhere now, or you can go to 21st-amendment.com and check it out. And if you get a chance, just thank Sully if you ever see him out there. He's a good guy, and he'll appreciate it. All right, so we're still hanging out in the clubhouse. It used to be the air-conditioned side, but now you guys have grown up and you've got air conditioning everywhere.
Right.
I would have been fascinated to see what it was like to hang out in the lounge side before there was air conditioning.
Not fascinating.
Yeah, nobody liked it. Yeah, no. You were like, cool, our beer's done, let's go. It's time to leave. All right. Before we go too far, one of the things we wanted to talk to Trevor about from the last segment is Trevor somehow, I don't know if it was just you or you alone, found wild hops growing in the mountains of Arizona. Is that right?
Yeah.
Were they like tall hop mines, or what? It
was creeping on the ground.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was up in the White Mountains with my brother for his birthday, and he's like, "Let's climb down this canyon, and there's a creek down here." I'm like, okay. So we go down the canyon, and we're like halfway down, 3/4 of the way down. I look down the ground, I'm like, that looks like pot. No, that looks like hops.
Wow.
What? That's hops. There's hops in Arizona.
What elevation are we talking here?
About 9,000 feet.
Okay, so way up there. Yeah.
Yep.
That's all northern, like even above Flagstaff, right?
It's east of Flagstaff.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you just see, and like in abundance, or are we talking about like a really sickly looking plant with a couple hops on it?
So at first it was just a couple hops on it, kind of like that. And as we start working our way down to the creek, it was like more and more and more. And they're kind of sporadic. And then they start climbing up. And
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did they smell like hops that you've ever smelled before? Like you're like, oh, that's like Columbus, or nothing?
Well, they're fresh, so it's not something I'm ever used to seeing or smelling. But it was, I'm trying to remember originally, like maybe citrusy, kind of winey kind of aroma.
A little bit of dank.
Yeah.
A little dank, yeah. And were they like fresh at that point, or were they drying on the vine?
It was
like, what state did you find them?
It was the end of September, so at that time of the year, that year was like they were like pretty prime, I think.
Okay. So did they look like bright green and
they
wet?
Were mostly green with just a little bit of drying, depending on where you found them. Some of them were a little sunstruck, and other ones aren't so much.
How the hell did they get out there, I'm wondering?
So after finding it and hearing other people and hearing that there's researchers that have actually come to Arizona and the whole Southwest cataloging all the hops, I think that they're just naturally here.
Interesting.
I'm assuming they're Neo-Mexicanos, but I don't know. That's the only thing I've ever heard.
You're probably right.
Here.
Yeah. So what did you do? Did you start chopping down hops?
Yeah, I got some Ziploc bags, and I got all excited, and I brought them home, and I threw them in the freezer, and then I went to brew with them one time, and there was like no aroma because I waited like a month or something.
Okay.
And I was kind of bummed out, so I just kind of tossed it. So then we planned a trip.
Well, wait. Did you finish that beer? Like, or did you throw the whole beer out?
I didn't even brew it because there's no aroma coming from the hops at all.
I see. Okay.
Because I think I kept it too long.
Okay. Yeah.
So then we planned a trip up the next time with some guest mash, and we're like, all right, this is probably not going to last. Let's just brew sight on scene. So we hiked down the canyon.
Is this the same? Did you wait a year, or this is the same season?
I waited a year.
You waited a year. Okay. Yeah. You go back. You hike down the canyon. Go on.
And there was like, 5 of us or something. We fill up all our bags with hops, and we climb up out of the canyon, and that was...
I think you're being a bit modest about what this hike was like. So I'd have a different viewpoint of this hike. We arrived and walked over to the edge of a cliff, looking straight down in a canyon, and had to proceed to climb down a bunch of rocks, chopping down trees to get to these mystery hops that supposedly Trevor had found someplace. We were a little skeptical, but we did find them. And we took our lives in danger, I think, on this adventure to get beer.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But you were, like, determined to do this.
For sure.
Why not?
Okay, so this time.
So we brought all our hops up, and we brewed. Well, we had a few beers and relaxed and ate lunch and all that stuff, and then we decided to brew there. So we got some spring water from a campsite next door, so it's just pure natural water, no additives or nothing.
Okay.
And we brewed our beer.
How did you, like on a fire?
No. We brought a propane burner up there, and then like we got we did brew in a bag, so we got a rope we wrapped around the pine tree, and we used a truck to pull the bag out and all that.
Where's the video of this? Where's this YouTube channel? Because first of all, you went from like, all right, I went hiking, I found it, I put it in my freezer, I waited, I brewed, it was no good, to like, I have to do it in the desert now. You know, you could have brought the Ziploc bag, you could have gone right from the desert to your home, and it probably would have been fine. But you were like, no.
I didn't want to take any chances.
You
go through all that work.
Yeah. That's be done right there. Yeah.
When you're talking about fresh hops,
right?
These are some fresh hops.
Seriously. Okay, sorry to cut you off. Go on.
So the first year we brewed the beer. We dry hopped it, or we hopped it at the end of boil, and we did a no chill.
Okay.
And we had no idea what was going to happen with that. And the next day, it didn't get that cold that night. We were hoping 30s. It was maybe high 30s, low 40s.
Okay.
The beer was still 130 degrees.
Yeah. It takes a while.
Yeah. Well,
and you're not in a cool ship. You're not in like a flat, thin vessel.
Right. And we left all the hops in there, so there's that hop load, that mass that just took up so much heat. So I mean, we got some good IBUs out of probably a really low bittering hop.
Okay.
And then, so it turned out pretty good. We did a few different styles. We split up, 5 different ways. And for the most part, everybody did their own little thing, and we got a lot of variation. It was pretty cool. And then the next year, we did it again, but we...
Hang on. So you had 5 different beers. Tell me about something about these beers. Like, what did they taste like? Wild beers, or were they clean? What did the hops do?
They were very winey, like white wine kind of aroma.
What was yours? Your batch that you did?
Oh, I'm
like, what style did you make it?
Is that the Saison?
Oh, that'd be a good choice.
No, I thought Saison would have been good because of that. I don't think it was, though.
Okay.
I did a smash beer. So I did just Pilsner and these hops.
Okay.
And that was it.
What did you think of that beer?
I think it turned out great, and I entered it in a comp, and it won a gold. So
under what style?
Smash? It was like experimental style beer, something along those lines. I don't remember the category, but it was straight Pilsner malt, and threw those hops in whole in the whirlpool, and kegged it off. And guess what yeast I used? 3470.
Okay, nice, yeah.
And it worked out pretty well. I mean, it was a neat, interesting, complex beer.
Wow. Okay, so then you guys go do it again.
We did again.
Yeah.
This time we decided to pull all the hops out so it could cool better. It did, but still not great. But it wasn't bad. There's nothing wrong with leaving it in there.
That's why they invented the cool ship. It has to be like a big, fat,
we
flat.
had something. The first year we had like 15 pounds of hops or something. It was insane.
That's a lot.
Like we had a pile out. I gotta get to the story. We had a pile out in the forest of the grain, and then we also had a pile of the hops, and it was the same size.
Wow. Yeah.
Little side story here. I woke up the next morning, and my brother got me up. He was there, and he's like, "You got to come look at this grain bed." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's too early for this." Okay, fine. So you go look at the grain bed, and there's these little like brown things on the grain bed.
Oh no!
I'm like, what is this? Is there like a bear or something come through? And I just couldn't. It just blew my mind what was putting these little things on. And so then this guy Todd gets up, and I'm like, "Yeah, go look at this grain bed, see what this thing is." And he goes over and looks at it, and this guy Aaron, he comes over and looks at it, and they're looking at it together, and Todd, he grabbed one, he smelled it, and then he ate it.
Oh no!
They were blueberries from the dessert he made the night before. He didn't tell anybody.
He just scattered
them on top of the grain bed.
Nice. I love this. See, this is why you're in a homebrew club. You get to get fucked with like that.
That's fun.
All right. Well, so has anyone tried to cultivate these hops or anything, or is it just this myth in the desert that you guys like to mess with?
I got some, but it didn't work out. No, maybe next year.
Because you have to cut a root. It's a rhizome, right? Like
you
have to
get a rhizome out of it.
Yeah.
And find a place to have these hops.
Right.
And, make them survive. It doesn't work too well in Phoenix.
Interesting. I would love to see it. What a cool just thing to stumble upon. I would have been pretty stoked too. Yeah.
And then last year, I decided to do a triple, and I brought some extra beer back hops back for another friend, and he couldn't brew with it. So I'm like, okay, well, let's try hop triple, and it didn't taste like a triple at all, but it was like the aroma that we had on the hops came out in the beer completely the same.
Okay.
It was crazy, and it was a whole lot of that white wine, citrusy, somewhat danky.
I like that though. That's like that. That's a kind of New Zealand terroir where we get into white wine and Sauv Blanc. I like those flavors.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, man. Do you still have some sitting in your freezer, or now you'd never store them again?
Yeah, no, I'll never store them again.
So always find it and brew it.
I did find some elderberries in that same canyon. I still have that in my freezer.
Okay.
For a future project.
Nice. See, and I've made fun of Arizona for so long. Like, nothing grows here. The Arizona Wilderness guys are still mad at me because years ago they won Brewery of the Year or something, and I had only first heard their name. And I was like, Arizona, there's no wilderness in Arizona, and they're still upset at that comment. But you're proving them right. There's plenty of wilderness out there.
Well, there's still our lobster mushroom fettuccine alfredo we made too. Excuse me, too, on that trip.
Wow, of course you did. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. I wish I could try the beer. So if you ever do it again, shoot me a line.
Next year.
I'll drive the Volkswagen out and I'll help cook with you.
Nice.
My Volkswagen can't pull anything like your truck did. It doesn't do anything like that. All right. So I wanted to get back to talking about how you guys now but you share equipment here in your club as a way to get new brewers in. Let's get Keith on here, and we can talk about that. And we've also got David Smolinski with us, and I think David's beer is in my glass.
Yes.
What am I drinking?
Strong British Ale.
Okay.
ESP style.
Off of a beer engine, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a new acquisition for us from a very, very generous member that found one on eBay and then decided to donate it to the club.
Nice. It looked brand new out there.
I shined it up.
You shined just for this? Yeah, thank you.
Cleaned it up, and we pour it into a secondary container off the keg, and then pull it through the engine.
Yeah, it's not. And this one is not a traditional cask style of beer. So we're cheating a little bit. So we're taking beer from a corny, and we're putting it into like a wine bag in a box.
Okay.
So we fill the wine bag in the box from the keg, and then we hook it with quick disconnects from more beer.
That-a-boy. Nicely done. Nicely done.
To our engine and pour it from there. So, but we do have some pins in the back, and then we are talking about organizing a cask night where we'll have a proper cask that's been conditioned.
Heck yeah. This is delicious beer, though, even if you are cheating.
Great. Thank you.
Well done. It's really nice to share.
It's one of our favorites. We usually brew it late November, December.
Okay. And then it sticks around through the winter.
Through the winter, and then depending how it is, it might last February or April. Depends.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad it's here now. This is a really nice beer to help finish the show. So you guys, and David, you were going to help us talk about too. We've been mentioning throughout the show that one of your club features is that you'll let new club members, or I guess any club member probably, use equipment that you have.
Right.
Which I've learned, John was kind of telling me at the break that the equipment can become quite extensive and eclectic because of the brewers are like, I don't brew anymore. They're just donating it to you guys. Right. So you must have a room full of stuff.
We have a big room that needs to be cleaned out.
Right. Some of our members are going to tackle that. One of the systems right here, the
Blickman system.
The Tower of Power.
Which is super nice.
Right.
Which is a great name, by the way.
Yeah, it is John's pretty clever, actually. That old redneck can come up with some good...
Every time I hear that, I think about that Frank Zappa song. Am I dating myself?
Yes.
I could take about an hour on the
Tower of Power.
And then we, it's 2 or 3 electric systems. One is from Blickman with our sponsorship with them.
Nice. Okay.
And then there's 2 others that we have.
Okay.
And so they're available. And then we have a whole smattering of other equipment that we could cobble together brew systems for folks to come in and try it. So really been pushing everybody, like, you don't need to buy and do your own. Come try, see if you like it, and try one of our systems.
Yeah, years ago, an old member from Ash moved to he's still a friend of mine. He lives in Chicago now, and they are so space constrained in their brewing ability that their homebrew clubs thrive on having common equipment that everybody can brew on. They pay a premium to brew on that club system. I never thought it could work here because we're so the desert is so expansive, and everybody's spread out across the valley. Our members are probably within a 20-mile radius all the way around this clubhouse.
I've been learning that since I've been here, yeah.
So, but now we're learning that, to get new people in, that it could be kind of intimidated by all the equipment that you might need to do some all grain. That's why we're trying to say, hey, come over here. We have the equipment. We'll show you how to brew on it.
Right.
And this time of year is so great to brew out in the parking lot right outside the door here. And we host these brew outs, and we'll roll the grill out there and do some sharing some homebrew. It's another great thing that the club does, is these brew outs, and we do try to do them, maybe 3 or 4 of them this time of year.
Right.
Actually, we got another one coming up in about a week. Yeah.
Have you guys had any trouble with people like sending the equipment back in disarray?
Oh, they don't take it. They come here and
it always has to be here. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Got
mean,
it.
we have lent it out in the past.
Okay.
But generally,
it's mostly come here, brew on our stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a great idea. Like so many times in any hobby, you pay a bunch of money, you buy all the stuff, you do it a couple times, and then you're like, I don't know, it was cool.
Yeah.
And then you own $1,000 worth of shit.
Right. Homebrewing, the hobby, has always been a revolving door, and I think Rob touched on that before. He's like, when he would meet somebody, he's like, how long are you into it for?
Right.
Are you a lifer? Are you going to be around?
It's a lot of pressure, though, Rob. That question, but yes, yeah.
And it's a great way to introduce you just to a low entry point. You don't have to have all the stuff, all the newfangled things. There's so many people buy the whole gizmo, right? They go to the show or whatever, they see all this shiny stuff, and then you spend a couple $1,000.
Mm-hmm. To this day, the best mash tun I ever had is that orange igloo sitting on top of your Blickman system. Yeah. It just held. You can't do like a bunch of decoction, and I couldn't do a bunch of steps. I was never going to do that anyway. But to hold temperature and just do a mash, best mash tun I ever had was just an igloo with a false bottom. So anyhow, you're right. You can go spend $2,000, or you can try this stuff out.
Right. Yeah. And we have multiple systems. We have electric power. Run the extension cords out to the parking lot and let people go at it.
Just make it easy.
Right.
And so are you like tracking your conversion rate? I know Keith very well. I bet he has a spreadsheet about that. Like how many, if you brew in our system, people are moving into.
It's very timely that you asked that, because we just discussed this in our board meeting on Tuesday. It's like, how do we track new people that come to the we need to have like a sign in or like a book to sign, so we can contact you and say, hey, what was your experience like? Is it something that you're interested in? Is there anything we could do better? So yeah, we're going to be doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did write our membership software with the cards. Rob started the cards. Now we have RFIDs, and we can badge in when we come to the clubhouse, and we're trying to like incentivize people with some points that they earn by just participation points, basically.
Oh yeah.
So if you show up, you get a point. If you show how to brew out, you get a point.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, and we have like a leaderboard, make it gamify it a little bit and make it interesting.
We do. Yep. There's a home brewer of the year, which gets an awesome. At the end of the year, they get to brew at the shop.
And that's like through points, not
through points. Okay. Yeah. So there's points allocated for all the comps. You get a little bit if you compete out of state.
Yeah. Okay.
Looks like we may have to add another component for out of country.
Nice.
We have some of our brewers are going elsewhere.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And winning.
Amazing.
That's pretty good. And then I think one of the big things too is not only the systems, but Did you show them the water? I mean, we
Yeah,
got
I was just going to
We
touch on
didn't
that
talk
too.
about that. John and I
we have
have
our own RO water system.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I think it goes back to other ingredients too. The ties we got to the rest of the industry that's in town here, or even state. You talked about Chris. We've reached out to Chris before, Chris White. And, you know, phone call into Neva, hey, what can you send us? And I get a box full of all these different yeasts, and we've used those to go out to the club. We've brought in malt from a maltster that's up in Verde Valley up north of here.
Okay.
The RO system, we got a 150-gallon tank, and we just keep it running. That was a donation from one of the breweries here that upgraded theirs. We were able to get it all set up and automated, and it's open to the members.
That's so great.
So we can more or less, if somebody came in, they could come in and brew a batch of beer, no harm, no foul, figure it out, get their ingredients and everything all the way through the system and go, hey, this is cool or not.
Yeah.
And really be able to work through it, which is kind of neat. It makes it easy too. I mean, you know, those of us who chase around the RO water and all that.
Well, and other than listen, you know, every homebrew club that I've ever talked to is like, oh, come brew with us. Come, and you go to somebody's house, you go brew on their system. That's a whole other thing. And sometimes it can be intimidating, and sometimes the club member doesn't let you do much, that you're just there to watch. This is the first time I've heard that you're like, no, here, it's for today, it's your equipment. Mm-hmm. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Because you're not really on someone else's stuff, someone else's time, someone else's day. You do what you want.
Yeah, well, with guidance, of course. It all depends on how much help you need. So we're here to help you and assist you.
Or do your thing. I like it. That's pretty cool. And how many points do I get for coming here and doing a podcast on your point?
New category, man.
Like half a point, 1/2 of a point.
Oh, the one thing was cool. Like Dave was talking about so now we have a 240 volt system that we could cord the pigtail that we could pull out into the parking lot for people that have 240 volt systems. We're going to put another one in soon, but recently one of our members brought a Cybertruck.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he brewed out of the back of a Cybertruck, which I thought would be cool up in the woods there. You know, you got electric.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's got to YouTube this shit, boys. You're missing out on some content.
Oh, there goes the TikTok again.
Yeah. Well, X or TwitX or whatever it's called, they would have picked up on that for you. That's, wow.
He brewed the entire beer, and I think he only used like 18% of his battery.
Less than that, I think.
It wasn't very much. And he didn't have to like turn it on or anything. It just sat there.
You guys have been the one group on the planet that found a good use for a Cybertruck. That's pretty cool, guys. Sorry, somebody here owns a Cybertruck in there. My bad. Whatever. That's awesome, though. Nicely done. Mm-hmm. But seriously, get the cameras out.
Yep.
You guys might be just, you know, this thing works. The phone, it's just as good as some pro camera.
Yeah, but now these kids, they hold it vertically.
I know. This whole trip I've been holding it vertically because my girlfriend told me if you want me to publish shit on InstaTalk for you, you have to hold it vertically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just do it. Just do it and send it to somebody.
Hey, we learn too.
Yeah.
We're old guys, but we learn too.
Do we, though? I don't know.
John learns what he hates.
Oh, the curmudgeon factor.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same. All right. Listen, guys, thank you for having me out today and sharing beer.
Well, thank you for coming out.
No, I really appreciate it. It was a nice invite. You guys, you as we've said, celebrated your 30th anniversary. I was sorry to miss that. You were generous enough to invite me there. I saw Rob just randomly at Arizona Wilderness, and that was cool to run into him. And so I'm glad this has all worked out. It's been fun to see. You've been talking to me about this club for years, Keith, so it's good to – I know I got to sit in on a meeting during the COVIDs, but it's cool to see you guys in action out here.
Yeah.
And nice to meet you all.
Well, come on back if you're ever in town again for spring training.
I might be. It might be a perennial thing.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll see. I do really like it here. It's reminded me that how much I like the desert, actually. So I have the desert like tattooed on me in different places, but I just like to make fun of it. But being here in the good climate and like seeing it's also just very different than California. Not just the terrain and the climate, but the people. It's been pretty cool. I can get my RV fixed here, so there's like a white trash factor that I really like. And I am white trash, so so it's been nice. And again, thanks for the beer. David, this is wonderful. Ross, thanks for sharing yours. And I know that Warren shared some bottles with us, which were just incredibly delicious. This Tilquin is quite nice too. So thanks for all your hospitality.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, I'll be back next time. Maybe we'll do a brew next time.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, I'll come in July.
Are you bringing the carpet?
And yes, I'll bring for the porter. Yeah. I just don't brew anymore. I do team up with great brewers though.
Oh, you do.
And it comes out well.
We've been listening.
All right. Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks to our sponsors. Don't forget about Beersmith. Go to beersmith.com. The best brewing software out there. You can go to beersmith.com, get your free trial. Check it out. There's a desktop trial version. Or just buy it because I'm never wrong about most things. So go to beersmith.com and check it out. Thanks to Blickman for supporting Brew Strong and for supporting Ash as well. I know you guys have a sponsorship, and it's always cool to see John Blickman's equipment over here.
Good company.
Yeah, great company. No longer a John Blickman company, although he's, I think, still there helping him out. And just good people over there, so thanks to them. All right, everybody, I'll see you next time. I think I'm doing a follow-up show with Arizona Wilderness about our Cool Ship beer out in the middle of the desert. I wish we had found some wild hops. That would have been fun, but we didn't, probably because I was too lazy to hike, and my dog is old. So we just hung out around the Cool Ship, which, and now I'm just going to go off on a tangent with Trevor, sorry, but we had to drive 2 hours away last week to do this Cool Ship beer because you had like a mini heat wave here. And the reason was that they were worried that the wort wouldn't get down to the temperature that they want. So we went up to, I want to say 4,000 feet. Don't ask me where. I'll find it on the map after the show. And then, so they brought these 2 huge tanks that were pretty much full. And they pour about a third of each of them into this Cool Ship, and it got down to, 35 or 40 overnight. By the morning, it started at like 85 degrees, and I think by the morning the wort was somewhere between 50 and 60. I forget exactly what he said. But that whole point was to get it on like a narrow, a wide and thin Cool Ship, so that the temp could get down, and then of course it inoculates all night long. Then they pump that Cool Ship back into the 2 giant tanks. Then they drive it back to the brewery, and he recirculates the tanks together for a while so that everything that was in the Cool Ship is in all of the liquid. And then a year from now, we'll figure out what that beer tastes like. But that temperature thing was huge to them. And originally, apparently, we were supposed to drive 20 minutes in camp, and then we ended up driving an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it was. So, but it was all a temperature thing. And that's all I know about Cool Ships in the desert, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves and your beer.